We found out Callum had NPC in, I think, February 2006, and then by the time he had his tests and everything, that he was actually diagnosed in May 2006. I took him when he was three weeks old. I took him, and that's when we first met Dr. Lake. That's his paediatric consultant here. He had as we called it, a bloated tummy. And everybody was telling me since he was newborn, you know, his tummy's bloated. Well, you know, and as you do, you make excuses. He's just been fed and things. And I just, because of all hormones, just felt like everybody was picking on him, you know. And then obviously after about 3 weeks, and he never went down, I finally took him to get his hips checked. And then when he checked his hips, he said, yeah, his hips are okay, but his spleen looks enlarged. And that's when, then I think 3 days later, he had an ultrasound, and they confirmed the enlarged spleen. Obviously, the consultant at Blackpool Victoria had never heard of niemann-pick. He isn't a biochemist, so he doesn't know about these things, but he kind of tested for all the kind of the normal stuff, the liver things and the kidney, because he was jaundiced for a long time. So all those was checked, and checked again, and then checked again, and I think we tested for sickle cell as well, which isn't quite, I think with sickle cell you get an enlarged spleen, and it wasn't that, obviously. And then eventually we got a phone call in the February, and we went in, and that's when he first said he's numb. When he, you know, and obviously I just sat and listened. I didn't really say anything when we went to see the doctor. And when my husband, I mean, he was on about enzymes and stuff like that, and genes, and I thought, well, I was worried because it was my child, but I wasn't overly concerned because of science, really. And then when my husband said, you know, is it fatal? And the doctor nodded and said, unfortunately, yeah, and you know, there's nothing we can do for him. You know, there's no treatment, no cure, and it's like you just go numb from head to toe. You go numb and you can't think. So I think a lot of that week or so, or the 2 weeks that he was sort of diagnosed, it was like, I can't really remember anything because I was numb. I was in a world of my own.
Niemann-pick disease type C is a very rare degenerative disease. It's a genetic fault that causes it, and it affects all systems of the body. The children initially are usually quite well, and then gradually they lose their skills. They don't learn as well as they should, and over years sometimes they lose their ability to swallow, to eat, and they do get dementia. They get short-term memory loss. Although usually, however ill they are at the end, it's close family, they're still recognised, and although they can't talk to them, you can tell that they know the few people around them that are important. Initially, the children may be quite normal, and then the teachers might comment on the fact that they're much clumsier than their peers. They fall over a lot, which is ataxia. They normally could eat and drink normally, but then they'll start choking on fluids or on food. They may be good at learning at school initially, but then gradually they fall behind their peers and their learning just stops and then goes backwards. One of the typical presentations is prolonged jaundice, because all babies get jaundice for a couple of days, but in NPC it's usually weeks and sometimes months that lasts. Typically with a child, but a newborn baby, they'd look for things like infection or common liver diseases first before they'd suspect a metabolic disease. But in recent years, the niemann-pick disease group have specifically targeted liver units to say, please look for these rare metabolic diseases if you have a child with prolonged jaundice. The next difficulty is, once that jaundice has resolved, it could be quite a few years before other problems start, and they can be quite subtle. It's often put down to learning difficulties in school, or dyslexia, or just naughtiness is often a common reason. And sometimes mums have to push for years to say, please, you know, there is something wrong with my child, it's not normal. And it's not an uncommon story for parents to say, I told you so, practically, that, you know, they've been pestering the doctors for many years.
As a parent, sending your first child to school for the first time is quite a proud and a worrying moment anyway, but it was extra special for us because he's been in his school play, Christmas play this year, and it was like we never ever thought he'd ever been one. So we was really, really chuffed that he was being in, you know, the school are really involving him in everything. They're not leaving him out or anything. So it was a good feeling sending him. Very worrying time, but we knew he'd be okay. I think academically and mentally he's okay at the moment. I mean, he's going to a mainstream school. It's just physically it affects us. Obviously he's 4 now and he's getting very heavy and quite a big boy, so it's quite heavy for me to lift about now because he obviously can't walk properly. He's never run, jumped, hopped. He's never done any of those things, and he's such a loving little boy as well. He really is very loving, and he's just sweet and he's cuddly and he is a good boy. I'm very lucky because he's got such a nice nature, which I'm really proud of. But I'm proud of everything he does, because when he comes home from school, he really is tired. It's really pushed him energy. You know, energetically, he's really been pushed, and it's like walking around the school a lot with the frame. He has a walking frame, so that really tires him out. And I think he does suffer fatigue very quickly. He does get tired really quick. So when he comes in, he likes to drink, and he likes to just park on there and just watch the TV for a bit. He knows he's different. He knows he can't run and jump with the other kids. But I think some of the other symptoms, as the condition progresses, is a lot of dystonia. Obviously, is of the throat, is where the swallowing. He will lose the ability to swallow, then have to be tube fed. And that's quite a significant milestone, apparently, in the disease. When it happens young as well, as young as perhaps Callum, that's quite a significant milestone in the disease. It's usually quite a rapid decline from there. Obviously, seizures, lots of seizures. I think child dementia is the main symptom of it. Is basically that they lose all the skills, and then they just pack up. Just everything just packs up. Keep going with the hard work, because we do seriously need not so much a cure, but a treatment for it. To be able to stop it. Where it is. I mean, if somebody was to say, we could stop it now, you know what I mean? He wouldn't get any better, but he wouldn't get any worse. I think we'd take Callum as he is now. We'd even take him in a wheelchair. We'd take him disabled, but as long as he was okay and he was healthy, we'd take him like that. So yeah, I think we definitely really needed some sort of treatment, proper treatment for it.